Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the DCI number 790F. This is a, in US26, this is a polished chrome flush bolt. This is going to be a typical flush bolt that you're going to see installed on wood doors, is where you're going to use this. Metal doors, not really, not this corner style flush bolt. This is going to be for wood doors. You know, not that it would be impossible, I suppose, to use this for a steel door, but you would use their 780 would be the appropriate part number for that. I think more specifically that part number is going to be 780F for a metal door. The 780F, which is the lever extension with the threaded rod, you'll also see those installed in wood doors as well. They're best suited for metal, but the 790 is specifically wood door flush bolt related, and the difference really comes in between the two. How you go about mortising a wood door for these bolts. That 780, the lever extension, again, while very common, requires knowledge, specialty tools if you're going to do it in the field. A bolt like this is rather straightforward to mortise for in the field. Probably you're ordering doors from the factory, you'll let them do it, and you'll provide the template for the hardware for this, and there is a link to that below this video. Now the 790 is going to be 790F is going to be available in US3 for polished brass. This is the US26 for polished chrome, US10B for oil rub bronze, US3 for polished brass, US10 for satin bronze, and US2060 for satin chrome. So all the primary finishes you'll be able to get your hands on. There is a link below this video to a document called template. Let's take a look at that if you'd open that. The template is included with the hardware naturally, and what it's really going to do is give you the dimensional properties of what's necessary for installing the hardware. When you review the template, you're going to see primary dimensions. You're going to see you're probably going to look for the outside dimensions first, 6 3/4 for the overall length. The width of this is going to be your typical 1-inch width. You might also be interested to know what it is on the top of the door. That 2.5-inch dimension you see there as well. Getting outside of that, once you've got an idea of your outside dimensions, you're going to look for your mortise dimensions. You can see that they're showing you an 1 3/8 mortise depth from the edge of the door to the back side of the prep. That's going to be a hard dimension. You might want to pad that ever so slightly. I might be tempted to make that, 1 7/16, something in that range. Then you're going to have a mortise height, top of the door down to the bottom of the case, 6-inch is what they're calling for. Really all of that you need to be sure that you avoid is mortising so far below that you get into where the screws would be located, and that's going to be appropriate logic for not only the height but the depth as well. My 1 3/8 saying it would go to 1 7/16, that's fine because we're not going to corrupt the wood where that backside hole for that screw is going to go. Then the other thing that you really need to know is you've got your depth from the top of the door down and then from the edge of the door, but you're going to make that prep 6-inch down, maybe 1 7/16 back. Then you've got to finish off for this, okay, and of course this. And you've got 6 3/4. So if you're going 6-inch, you'll be less. You'll go 3/4 inch, 1 inch wide than the thickness of the plate, which I'm sure that they give out here in the drawing. I would be surprised if they don't. 1/8 of an inch. Forgive me, it's obvious and straightforward. 1/8. I like to use a caliper when I measure these things. It allows me to be more accurate. Then of course the top here is going to be 1 inch. It will give you a total depth of 2.5. You'll just reverse the math. 2.5 minus whatever you've prepped will give you this, and then 1/4-inch radius corners for that. So if you're using a 1/2-inch diameter router, you're in good shape. And of course doing this with a router would be the way to go. You'll want to have a template. You'll want to have a plunge router so that you can do that body prep. Okay. Then you'll want to have maybe reset your plunge router to just give you that 1/8 of an inch, 3/4 by 1 inch. Then down here your inch and maybe 15/16, inch and an eighth, or pardon me, inch and a 16th, something in that range by 1 inch, and then your quarter-inch radius. So you'll do two mortise preparations. You'll do the body, and then you do the plate, what's left over for that. Now, the only dimension that I don't really see called out is the width of the body mortise. What I mean is, we know that we're talking 6-inch. We know we're talking 1 3/8 or 1 7/16, but what's the thickness? Obviously, you've got to fit this thickest portion down on there, onto the door. I might be tempted to not want to run my body prep 1 inch all the way, but there's really no way around that because you've got this portion here. You can see here, you don't need 1 inch to get this portion in the box, but you will up here. So you'll do a 1 inch prep there as well. Now, you've got the mortise prep, you know what you're going to do there. If you don't, reach out. I've mortised for flush bolts countless times, both by hand, by hammer and chisel. The preferred weapon of choice, naturally, your router, and also a CNC programming. So if there's any questions on how to do this, feel free to reach out. Now, moving forward, this is just a sheet metal box that's on the back. It's appropriate to have it back there. You're going to most likely remove it when you're installing, but not necessarily. If you do end up removing it, you're just going to slide that back up there and be done with it. Gives you a nice finished sort of dust box, dust-proof sort of scenario. You're going to want to obviously pre-drill all your holes, your 5 holes that you'll need. You're going to get combination wood, machine, number 8 flat undercut head screws, so you can stick that into a wood door, obviously, or a metal door if you had to. The screws are just kind of unisex, but there's more screws in there than you really need for the lock body, or pardon me, for the bolt body, because you've got your strike plate naturally. I think this is 15/16 by about 2 1/8. 15/16, 2 1/4, forgive me, okay? So we've talked about the link to the template. Looking at the rest of the template, there's nothing else really that's called out of note. Looking at there was an additional link underneath this video to the product brochure, which will allow you to review all of the flush bolts from DCI. In the world of flush bolts, there's more than just the lever extension and then the style that's used for wood doors. You're going to get into automatic flush bolts for wood and metal doors. You're going to get into those products as they incorporate fire bolts. If you are using certain hardware where you've got to have a bolt that's going to extend when the door reaches a certain temperature and lock into the other side of the door, they have those obviously. Coordinators, both bar style and gravity type, are very commonly used with flush bolts, along with the 962 non-handed automatic 2-point sort of flush bolts. Very common items, and they're all listed there, along with, of course, dust-proof strikes, which are sister products as it pertains to flush bolts. I'm quite partial to DCI, and here's why. They have a relatively petite footprint in the realm of trim and auxiliary, relatively. But what they do very well. They've got all the common stuff you're going to need, an excellent quality fit and finish. I mean, that US26, the only defect you see on there is my fingerprints that are on there from touching it. It's got an excellent quality fit and finish on that polished chrome, and that sort of excellent quality fit and finish runs through the product line. Now, back that up to superb customer service and even better technical support for their product line. Also, DCI, you'll know them for their Panex series specialty exit devices. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all the DCI products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, along with a link to the full product catalog. If you're looking for good quality trim and auxiliary hardware, familiarize yourself with their material. If you have any questions on the DCI number 790F and a US26 polished chrome finished wood door style manual flush bolt or any other DCI product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.